Hi again, everyone. It's Laurie White with the Greater Providence Chamber of Commerce, and we are continuing our discussions today with the major candidates seeking public office in Rhode Island. This is part of an ongoing series of discussions to get to know the key leaders and what their intentions are in public office and what some of the key themes are on their platforms, and specifically how they might relate to the business community, and our overall themes around economic competitiveness and economic development in Rhode Island. So this is episode number 172 of Chamber TV. We've done dozens and dozens of interviews with candidates. They all can be found on our website, provchamber.com. And today we are really pleased to be able to welcome the former mayor of the city of Central Falls, former Mayor James Diossa. He served 2 terms as mayor in the state's smallest city. And today, if you read any of the newspapers and media accounts of what's going on in Central Falls is laying claim to the comeback city in Rhode Island and is doing very, very well, having gone through some bumps along the way, but we can talk a little bit about that and how those experiences translate into Mayor Diossa's plans to seek public office and to be elected general treasurer in Rhode Island as a Democrat. So with that as a preamble, hello, Mayor, how are you? Nice to see you. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Laurie, and thank you to all of your membership for the opportunity to have a conversation with you and your members today.
Fantastic. So as we do with all of the candidates, let me just toss it open to you and ask you to tell us a little bit about your backstory and some of your proudest accomplishments and what you bring to the race.
Absolutely. So my family came here from Colombia in the late 70s. They were fleeing government corruption, the drug cartel fighting. It was a truly dangerous time in Colombia. And my father decided at a very young age that if he wanted to have a family with the best opportunities to success, that the United States would be the country where he would want to have a family, live, and grow old. And so he decided to move to the United States, landing first in New York and then made his way up to Central Falls, Rhode Island, when at a time the manufacturing business was really booming still in this area. And so he made Central Falls his home, bought his first house. Fortunately, he found a job at a local manufacturing called Osram, Sylvania, where he was employed for 33 years before they closed up shop, and gave my mom and us the best quality of life growing up with a great education through the public school systems. I was the first one in my family to go to college, graduate, and after college, I decided to come back to Central Falls and step up in my involvement and engagement as a way to show appreciation for a city that really opened its doors for us and gave us a very good quality of life and opportunity to grow up and have success. And so I ran for city council in 2009, was fortunate enough to get elected. As I was serving in my first term, at the time the mayor came to the city council claiming that the city was a few months away of becoming insolvent. Through the mayor, they filed for state receivership, and then bankruptcy. And then during that time, the mayor was indicted on corruption charges, which opened up the office of the mayor to an election. And I ran for mayor in a 5-way race, being fortunate enough to win the primary, go on to the general in the runoff, and be successful there, gaining over 60% of the vote. This city was going through a very difficult time. Not only were we going through bankruptcy, people's uh, uh, confidence in the city and its leadership was no longer there. Things were falling apart, and I truly believe that at that time the city had hit rock bottom. And so I knew immediately that as I assumed the office, I had to put the best team around me to help me rebuild the city. One of the reasons why the city fell into bankruptcy is because of this mismanagement of the budgets, the pensions, and my first course of action was, looking at our pension system and the way the city was managing it. And luckily for us, we were able to work with the current treasurer, Seth Magaziner, and the legislature to move our pension system into the state system because I knew that I didn't want to repeat the mistakes of the past or have any future administrations make poor decisions that would set the city back. And so we were able to move our system into MERS where it's better managed, have better capacity, and also pooled into bigger pools where the investments can be invested at a better rate and more success for the retirees and the pensioners. And so what I learned during that experience is as we had filed for bankruptcy, the pensioners, the retirees were cut 50% of their pensions. And so I saw firsthand the impact it had on real people, where people had lost their homes, people were at an age where they can no longer move and find a job. And so understanding this very closely made me even more committed to solve this issue and secure it not only for the current retirees, but the actives, but the new employee that would come and work in the city of Central Falls. That was one important thing. The second is, we were very focused on rebuilding our infrastructure, bringing transparency and honesty in government at City Hall, working collaboratively with our school system to support them in their initiatives so that we can make education better in the city. One of the proudest moments for me was bringing Rhode Island College to open up a satellite building in Central Falls. That to me was critical because they meaning Rhode Island College, had a particular focus of opening up in Central Falls to build up on workforce development, which we all know now more than ever is critical for our companies, our small mom and pop stores that need employees, need support. And so this opportunity of bringing Rhode Island College to Central Falls is one that we will continue seeing the fruits of that investment engagement for years to come. Economic development is always on the top of the mind of mayors, and one of the key moments of economic development that we saw closely working with Pawtucket is the opening of the Pawtucket Central Falls train station. We know what mass transportation does to local economies. We know the opportunities it offers to our workforce, our education force, which will allow them to access other universities and colleges around the state and around the region, but also to the workforce point, give access to other parts of the state and the region for employment status. And so we see this as a good opportunity that once this opens up next year in 2023, we're going to continue seeing the growth in this area of Blackstone Valley, in particular Central Falls and Pawtucket. These are some of the things I'm incredibly proud of, and we all understood that in order to continue building upon what we believe is the good work that we were able to accomplish in 8 years. And again, this is with a city that had its bond rating go into junk status and spending year after year talking to the bond rating agencies about the investments the city was making, the engagement of developers to come into the city, different projects that would help the the tax base grow, and we were able to move our junk bond status out of junk bond status into investment grade before I left office, which I think is an important and critical thing. And the city had left its relationship with our Chamber of Commerce, which was the Northern Rhode Island Chamber of Commerce. The first thing I did was re-engage the city, because I knew that if I wanted to support small businesses, I needed an organization that can help me and back me up with systems and programs that could help educate our business community, but also show that City Hall was open for business, but also wanted to be very supportive. And I was always very balanced in my approach with our budgets. I made sure that throughout my 8 years, we kept our tax rate at a very competitive rate for our small businesses, because we knew that they were the ones employing people in Central Falls and helping keeping our local economy moving. And so I was always very mindful of their participation, and also on how we continue to build our relationship. And that was one way of addressing that, outside of making sure that their infrastructure outside of the businesses were good, and the other component, which was bringing Rhode Island College, that would help some of these businesses find good employees in our local city to support them. And so that in general has allowed me to understand the importance of the role of the Rhode Island Treasurer. And I simply put it this way, that I have the experience managing our pension system, experience working with different bond rating agencies to understand the importance of managing a pension system, but also the budgets of our city. And moving forward, I know the importance for every city and town, and for the business community, to have great infrastructure, which is roads and sidewalks, etc. And through the Rhode Island Infrastructure Bank, which is overseen by the Treasurer's Office, I want to continue giving access to our cities and towns across the state to better upkeep their infrastructure in their local communities. We are all aware of the crisis of affordable housing. I'm grateful that the legislature, with the governor, has made this a priority. The treasurer being a voice at the Rhode Island Housing Authority Board, I want to continue building on policy that will help Rhode Islanders with access to affordable, good housing, which we all know benefits everyone. If someone has a good home environment, clean home, and the ability to own a home, it helps with the workforce, it helps with education, it helps build on our community as a whole, and makes Rhode Island stronger. And school construction is another key piece of a way to continue employing people, but also building upon the bedrock, which I think is essential to the business community, and that's education. We want our cities and towns to have the best school infrastructure, so that teachers are teaching in the best environment possible, and kids are learning as well in the best environment possible. And so I want to continue building on the legacy of Treasurer, who has allowed cities and towns across the state to access dollars to remodel and build new schools across our state. And having a 2-year-old, I know more than ever that this is critical for the direction of our state. And I know that building upon the legacy of Magaziner's school construction plan, we can give every student in Rhode Island, every teacher in Rhode Island, the ability to have the best infrastructure to teach and learn in. And so I want to do just that. As mayor, I laid the groundwork to remodel schools and build a new high school in Central Falls. Fortunately for us, the new mayor has been able to move that project across the finish line, and is now looking at 2 to 3 years from now building a brand new high school in Central Falls. So those are some of the important issues. And like I said, we know that business is critical for our state, especially the small business owners. And I want to use one of the programs that the treasurer has started, which is the Bank Local RI, and that to me will give access to small businesses who would otherwise not qualify for a loan, give them access to a loan to help grow their business or support them in a time of need that we know they all felt the biggest impact during these last few years of COVID. And so I feel for them. I understand them, being a mayor and working closely with them, and I want to support them through these initiatives that the treasurer has started in that office. So thank you again for the opportunity. But that's a small brief about myself, why I think I'm qualified to run for this office, and my vision for this office.
Thank you, Mayor, for that comprehensive overview. Very impressive, absolutely, and we appreciate your leadership in so many areas, and in particular the work that you've done on the economic development front in the Blackstone Valley and your responsiveness to the small business community. So very important as we continue to work through some very difficult times with rising inflation, very difficult gas prices, instability in Ukraine, and lots of other issues that all find a way to come back to small business, regrettably. Want to pick up on a couple of things that you mentioned, a couple of things that you were talking about. And the first was the MERS system and moving the Central Falls pensioners into the MERS system. So I'm wondering, as General Treasurer, how you might go about looking at other cities and towns throughout Rhode Island that have strained pension systems. And in particular, I'm thinking about the city of Providence. What are some of the arguments for and against, thinking about Providence as an example, for entering the MERS system? And as treasurer, would you have a particular point of view, a particular piece of persuasion that would change the dynamics of what's happening in the city of Providence right now as an independent system?
So I'm very thankful to our current treasurer, Magaziner, for giving us the opportunity to enter the MERS system. Being the first community to enter the MERS system through special legislation has allowed Central Falls to be on a more strong footing for many years to come as far as their pensions. And again, learning very closely the impact of mismanagement of pension funds and the devastation it has on people. I don't ever want to see Central Falls or any community around have to go through that. Having the experience of entering the MERS system as a community, and then I learned West Warwick has also joined. Ideally, we want to make this very welcoming to any community who wants to participate. I will build upon that. Being the president of the Rhode Island League of Cities and Towns, I was able to build relationships with every municipal leader and understood the issues of their local communities. And part of my strategy, if I become treasurer, is I want to develop a team that what I would call a go team, where if I get a call from a municipality who, again, small municipalities don't have the budgets, capacity to hire the best experts. And so I want to be able to provide that support for any local community who wants it, and engage them on their interests if they want to join the MERS system. I think ideally, if they're able to agree with their labor unions to enter the MERS system, the more communities we have, the better. I think it creates more stability for the state, makes the state much more stronger. I know the business community cares about this because if the pension systems are invested appropriately and in a strategic way, less taxpayer dollar has to be committed to this, to the pension fund. And so it keeps the tax base, tax rates lower, and allow for much more sustainability for the future. And so that's what I would do: create a Go team in the Treasurer's office to help assist cities and towns across the state who call upon help, or if I see that they need support. And part of that is also talking to municipalities about any interest in joining into the state MERS system, and give them, the strategy of it helps us all in the long run, much more secure, much more stable. We have the experts to assist in investing the funds and with larger pools of funds. And I think overall, this is good for the economy. It's good for everyone, and makes us very stronger as a whole. And as far as Providence, I supported the initiative of the mayor with the support of the voters in Providence. I think that as a mayor, you can't really kick the can down the road on some of these issues, especially this particular issue. And I supported it based on hoping that they can go to the market to secure funding for it at a low interest rate. And I agreed with the legislation of keeping it below 5%. But if I'm elected, I want to revisit that conversation with Providence too. And if it lines up that they are interested in joining, I would absolutely work my hardest to do so.
So is it an either or scenario in the city of Providence, relative to the pension obligation bond or entering the MERS system? Is there some combination?
Yeah, I think that the first step is currently in motion, and this is the direction that the mayor has taken with the support of the voters and the legislature. If I'm fortunate enough and become the next general treasurer, I would step foot into the office on January 1st, and so I would bring all the folks involved, the new mayor, have a conversation with the new mayor and the administration, reassess on how the strategy is working, and if there's an opportunity to present them with the option of joining the MERS system, I absolutely will entertain it and work with them as closely as I can. Again, we've seen what happened in Central Falls, and no matter how small or how big, it still impacts taxpayers, it impacts retirees, it impacts local economies, and so I know how sensitive and important it is to pay particularly close attention to these municipal pension funds.
Thank you for clarifying that. Yes, the city of Providence has some extraordinary challenges there, particularly with the set of Supreme Court rulings that essentially tie their hands. So moving on to another economic development issue, I'm curious what your thoughts are on the proposed soccer stadium where McCoy Stadium used to be, and what your thoughts are in terms of anchoring another sports venue in the Blackstone Valley, and what role, if any, do you think the Treasurer's office needs to play in this discussion?
So, being a native of the Blackstone Valley, and watching very closely during my time as mayor the devastating effects that losing the Pulse Axe had to this area of the Blackstone Valley and the region, for that matter, really put a lot of things in perspective, saying that we're not the capital city where we see these types of large investments happening more often than what you see in this area of the state. And so when presented with the opportunity of building a new soccer stadium with components of apartments, commercial, etc., I think that what the team and the city as presented to the state affords enough safeguards for the taxpayers, uh, enough safeguards to protect the project as a whole, in the sense that these are investments that are going to really produce revenues for the city of Pawtucket and bring tourism, business, investments into a region that is in need of these types of big investments. And so, playing off of the stadium, you'll have the train station with other local development that's happening in the area. And so, I think that at this point in time, I'm hoping that the state and the city can come to terms, and we're able to see this development happen. Again, I want to really emphasize the point that this region doesn't see, this area of the Blackstone Valley does not see these types of large investments. And so uh, we all believe it's a good deal. I believe that once this all happens, there'll be a lot of economic development that will join with this development. And I feel very confident in the mayor and making sure that he's protecting the taxpayers, but also making sure that this deal is in the best interest of all of the state. And so that's why I've been extremely supportive of this deal.
Moving to another key responsibility of the Treasurer's Office in Rhode Island, which is the 529 College Savings Plan, and the work that the Treasurer's Office continues to do, and raising awareness about that, and managing those funds. Any thoughts on things that you might want to do to change the direction of that program? Anything new that you are looking to add to
Yeah,
stimulate more college admissions?
I cannot agree of the importance of that program. I think the treasurer has done a good job of informing the Rhode Island community of this program. I know firsthand, being a first generation to graduate college, the importance of education. And so I want to continue expanding this program, maybe look at ways where we can uh, enroll families at the time of birth and expand this program. I was also a big supporter of the Promise program, where we gave Rhode Islanders the ability to go to CCRI for free, understanding that the more people we get into the pipeline of college, the better it is for our state as a whole, but also the business community. And so I want to continue broadening up that program, and I believe I will do that with the support of the staff at the Treasurer's Office, who work very diligently every single day to inform people of this program. But I will make sure to bring this program to the people so that we can enroll more young people, so that they have the ability to go to college when they graduate high school.
Very well said, and very supportive of Rhode Island's Promise. The Greater Providence Chamber of Commerce was, and the degree to which it can help students stay in school and accelerate their completion rates, and do it in a time frame that's really beneficial to everybody. So we only have 2 minutes left, Mayor. But as you were speaking, it occurred to me that I see some common themes in your story, in addition to some of the other stories that we've heard doing these interviews. And congressional candidate Omar Barr, and also Nirva LaFortune, who's running for city council in Providence, all have stories about coming to the United States and having escaped dictatorial regimes, abusive regimes. So I think it's interesting and instructive to think about how those that have that as part of their story have a certain respect for government and democracy.
Mhm.
Do you have thoughts on that in the last 2 minutes as we head out?
Yeah, look, I believe in public service wholeheartedly. I believe that uh, the reason why I decided to stay in the state is because outside of the sacrifices that my dad had made and my family to bring us to the United States, well, first of all, come to the United States, and again, I being born and raised in Central Falls, understood that I had to, give back to my community, and that's why I decided to stay and engage in local politics. And also, I think that in my time there, I played an important role of advocating for important programs um, that would help Rhode Islanders grow and become better and stronger as a whole. And so, absolutely, the story of having an immigrant background just shows the beauty of the state of being so welcoming, and that this state has provided the opportunities to everyone to be successful. And I want to continue creating those opportunities of success as a statewide elected official. And I want to support chambers like yours and work collaboratively so that I know and I'm better informed every single day that I step into that office with the support of your membership and other members around the state to help inform my decision making as I step into the treasurer's office. So this is the reason why I decided to run for treasurer, and I hope that fortunate enough we can work closely together as I work for the next 4 years for all Rhode Islanders and your members.
Thank you for extending that opportunity, and we would be most appreciative of that and continuing to build on the relationship that we have with Treasurer Magaziner. So if folks want to get in touch with you, if they want to learn more about your campaign, if they want to volunteer, if they want to make a donation, how might they reach to you?
Yes, our website is diossa4ri.com, and you will have all the contact information, ways to donate, learn more about my story, and also some of the issues that are important for my vision as Rhode Island Treasurer.
Thank you for that. Best wishes as you
Thank
continue to campaign this summer, and we look forward to having you back again. Should our paths cross, if you want to come back and talk about any other issues that you see as we march closer to primary day in September, we would love to be able to offer you this forum. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Central Falls Mayor James Diossa, now candidate for General Treasurer. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you, Laurie. Thank you for your time.